Hello. All right. We will call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Welcome everybody in attendance. We will do a quick roll call. Jeremy Mask is the president and not present. Roger Canoy, present.
Melissa Keller, present.
Eddie Vanami, present.
All right, we will proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, I'm sorry.
Will Borseth, present.
There we go, Will. Thank you. We'll proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, we will review the I-35 mission statement and district priorities. The mission statement is the Interstate 35 Community School District exists to develop lifelong learners and responsible, productive, successful citizens in an ever-changing society. The district priorities are to articulate and support a cohesive, student-centered PK through 12 vision for continuous school improvement, to engage in effective teaching and relevant learning for the 21st century, and to operate with fiscal integrity, efficiency, and effectiveness. All right, board members should have a copy of the agenda. Any discussion on the agenda that we currently have? I would entertain any motions on the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
And I move to second the agenda.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The agenda is approved. We will now have a public hearing on the fiscal year 2022-2023 school budget. Do we have some opening remarks on that, Mrs. Dentlinger?
So the proposed budget was published on March 16th in the Madisonian, and it is published a little bit higher of a tax rate than what we'll probably use. We're encouraged to do that just in case there are slight fluctuations in different categories of the rate. And so our goal is to get it to what the tax rate is, so it's constant, and that's what we've published to allow for. So we've published it so that it'll be at the constant rate, and you can kind of see what those categories are. This is what was published in the Madisonian, and I can show you how that kind of breaks down. So if you look at the tax rate, we talk about the combined district cost, the cash levy for our SBRC, which is the total general fund levy, is at this year published is 11.5076, and it's cut off there, so there's a few, I think 2 more digits there. Last year it was 11.98. So that part of the levy actually went down a little bit. Then the management levy is published at 1.52151, and that is a slight decrease from last year as well. Scroll down here. Our voted PEPL is again at 1.34, and a 0.33 of the PEPL fund that we've had. So that's a 1.67, which is constant with what we've done in the past. And then our debt service was at 3.49, 280 last year, and it's at 4.04338 this year. So the projected cost the projected levy rate stays constant, even though it's published a little bit higher. So the goal or the intent that we're The direction we're given is to keep that constant, so it's been at 18.67356, as you can see, for at least since fiscal year 18. So keeping it steady.
So we are in a public hearing right now, so any questions from the public on the budget? I see no questions from the public on the budget. We will proceed with closing of the public hearing. In the published agenda, there is a public hearing scheduled for the HVAC system project. We are going to forego that public hearing at this point, and we will discuss it later on in the agenda. Next item is the open forum. We had nobody sign up for the open forum. Do I still need to read the guidelines for that? No, I don't. All right. Now we will go into positive accomplishments. The National Honor Society would like to give us an update.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, so what we're going to be talking to you guys about today is just what the National Honor Society is and basically what we've done throughout this school year. And so we've had a pretty busy year, but first I will tell you what the National Honor Society is as a whole. So the National Honor Society, according to the NHS.US website, is the National Honor Society elevates a school's commitment to the values of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. These 4 pillars have been associated with membership in the organization since its inception in 1921. And the Interstate 35 National Honor Society prides itself on those 4 pillars of National Honor Society. In this presentation, you will see the things that we have done throughout the year. So our officers are President Abby Goring, myself, Vice President Miranda Gutierrez, Secretary Sydney Howard, Treasurer Mia Howard, and reporter Sabrina Egley. And we have 21 members of National Honor Society, and this year we inducted 11 new members. So our past members were Abby Bortner, Hannah Bedwell, Abigail Fonts, Sadie Porter, and Macy Nelson, and then our officers. And our new ones were Caitlin Morris, Kylie Bush, Lauren Busmus, Carson Allen, Charlie Canoy, Elizabeth Ferber, Katie Murphy, Sierra Hutton Speaker, Grace Needler, Jenna Nelson, and Allison Oser. So the first thing that we did this year was we did inductions, and so we just inducted all of those new members that I just talked to you about, and we had a big ceremony here in the auditorium. And throughout the year, we do a lot of service and fundraising throughout our community, and that has been the Helping Hand Pack the Truck Night, Ironman Volleyball, Fall and Spring Blood Drives, our chili dinner, coin wars and donations, and our scrapbooking fundraiser. So our first item that we have done through National Honor Society this year was on October 8th, 2021, which was Helping Hands Pack the Truck Night. So this basically was a pack the truck, and we did many different things. We got food items and we got personal items that people brought, and we packed a truck full, and then we sent it all over to the Helping Hand, and it just went to different families that may need it.
After that, we decided to do an Ironman volleyball tournament, so that's where obviously the boys in all 4 grades compete against each other to see who's the best at volleyball. All of this just turns out to be one big fundraiser, and I believe, where did our proceeds go for this one? Do you remember?
I believe this one was just for the National Honor Society.
This one was? Okay. This one actually just went. That's what I thought. All of the proceeds we made from this event went to the Mask family to help with medical bills, because they've kind of been going through a lot these past couple years. But yeah, that one's pretty fun to do.
So our next one is a blood drive, and obviously that is just something that we do every year. We do it twice a year. We did that on November 9th, and people all from around the community, teachers, students even, come in, just give blood, and that goes to LifeServe.
Next was our chili dinner. So we have a student fund here at Interstate 35, and for those of you that don't know, that is just a fund that helps if a child comes in and needs a pair of tennis shoes for PE, the school will go ahead and purchase those for them. So we did a chili dinner at a basketball game over winter break, and all of our proceeds from that went to the student fund.
And our next was our spring blood drive, which is basically the same as our fall. And when we just made a poster for this one, and it said, when you donate blood, you can save a life, and which is very true.
And then I think definitely one of our biggest accomplishments throughout the year so far has been all of the money we raised for Winterset these past couple weeks. Mrs. Detlinger came to us with an idea to do a coin wars competition. And instead of just doing middle school and high school this year, we reached out to elementary and we put it through them as well. And those were some of our biggest donators this year. We raised, I believe, over $6,000 to give back to Winterset to help them.
So one of our biggest fundraisers for the National Honor Society is our scrapbooking crop, which basically is just a lot of anyone can come and they just scrapbook all day. It starts at 9 a.m. and it ends at around midnight, so it's a pretty long day for us, but we have lunch, we have dinner, breakfast, all of that fun stuff, and we get donations from all over the place, and we have a lot of fun games, and it's just a really good time for all of these ladies. As you can see in the presentation, this is us giving out some raffle prizes to Kim Kirkpatrick and even our librarian, Chris Allen, who came to support the National Honor Society. This is something really fun that we just like to do every year, and it's a good time, and a lot of hard work goes into that.
Other fun activities we like to do is we always do our Christmas potluck and fall retreat. We've actually never got to experience a spring retreat. The last couple of years have been kind of chaotic. So this year we do get to experience a spring retreat. So we're kind of looking forward to that. But these things are just for us since we've worked hard throughout the year, and so we get a little bit in return back.
So our first retreat was our fall retreat, which we went to Sleepy Hollow Scream Park on October 31st, and that was a lot of fun. We went to IHOP, and we went to Sleepy Hollow, and that's honestly just a bonding opportunity for all of the kids in the National Honor Society, and we all just get to have a lot of fun as well as all the hard work that goes into National Honor Society throughout the year.
And then our Christmas potluck is kind of like the same concept. We all get together, we do Secret Santa, we all bring in a dessert or food, and this year we got to have it in the library, watch a movie, enjoy each other's company, exchange gifts, yeah.
And so, coming up for the National Honor Society, we have our spring service and retreat. So, we are actually going to go work at the cemeteries in St. Charles, which there are 3 of them, and we're going to clean them up and make them look all nice. And then after that, we are going to go on our spring retreat, and we're going to go up to Honey Creek Resort and Indoor Water Park and just have a lot of fun bonding time with the National Honor Society. So, that's going to be our last thing for this year, other than we have to do officer inductions, and then next year they'll do inductions and there'll be a lot of new people because we have 10 spots to fill. So thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
You don't get to run away without questions, though.
Oh, okay.
Any board members have questions? I do. So one of the 4 pillars that you mentioned was leadership. Can one of you describe to me how this experience is helping you grow as a leader?
Yeah, so we all are inducted into National Honor Society. This isn't something that we just get to sign up for. So last year, all 3 of us, and the year before, we did a whole process to be inducted into the National Honor Society, and that is selected by a group of individuals that we have no idea who they are, and they just decide who they think would be the best of the 4 pillars. And personally, myself, I've learned a lot of leadership through this. I am grateful to be the president of this National Honor Society, and I get to run all the meetings, and it's taught me a lot of different things, and it has just been a great opportunity to watch everyone else grow as leaders as well, and it has also given us an opportunity to become leaders not only in our school but in the community as well, so it's just been a great opportunity for all of us.
I don't really have a question, but thank you so much. I can see you guys are excited about it, and it's really neat to see everything that you guys are doing. That's a lot. So thank you for all that you're doing, and the fundraising for families here, and that's amazing. So thank you.
Of course.
All right, I think you're off the hook.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming to present. We will roll right into the student representative report. Will, are you prepared?
I think so. Okay, is this actually working?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
As far as events, we've obviously got spring sports coming up. We've got prom. A lot of fun events for the high schoolers. The only big thing I can see is really putting forth the effort of finishing out senior year. Everyone's got that senior slope going on, but all in all, I think we're just ready to get out of here, but also leave an impact while we're here. So that's all I got for you.
All right, any questions for Will? All right, principal reports. We'll start with Mr. Tessaw.
All right, it's hard to believe that we're already talking about April, but here we are. April is coming by the end of the week, whether we like it or not. So with April comes a lot of our standardized testing. So starting next week, we will have our ISASP tests. Starting 3rd and 4th grade, we'll be taking those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then any makeups we'll have after that. Next Friday, we will have our conditions of learning, which isn't really a test, but it is a survey given by the state of Iowa to kind of go over how things are going, how students feel about connectedness to teachers, connectedness to other students, just an overall climate feel of the building there. And again, that's for 3rd and 4th grade. A couple weeks after that, we roll right into iReady testing, and iReady is our math program. Has some built-in assessments to kind of gauge where kids are at and some of the learning. And we follow that right up with FAST testing coming in right after that, which again is a math and a reading screener to determine just kind of where our needs might be and any possible issues that we would want to address that a little deeper with some diagnostic tools. So it's a big month for us with all of that, but at the same time we try to mix in some of our fun stuff. We've had a lot of classes going to their Civic Center shows. If you recall, each grade level goes to a show either at the Civic Center or the Temple Theater. It's through the Des Moines Performing Arts group offering us $1 seats to have our kids go to events like that. So we always try to try to enjoy that. It's nice that they returned this year. We didn't have the option of going in person last year. They had some virtual shows that we did use, but we have one class was gone earlier this week, or excuse me, last week. We have a class or two going later this week. So just a lot of things going on in the elementary. And again, it's hard to believe that it's April and there's only a couple months to go, but we're going to finish off strong.
Thank you, Mr. Tessau. Any questions? All right, Mr. Castor is making his way to the front.
So very similar to what Jeff had talked about, next week's going to be a really busy week for everybody, I think, with the ISASP testing. I've sent that information out to parents and students both, and staff as well, but they're informed of what that week looks like. So we test Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I can't remember the order off the top of my head. Reading, math, language arts. And then on Thursday, only 3 grade levels, so grades 5, 8, and 10 test science. And that's by ISASP testing their offerings. We don't have the option to test science at each grade level. So we offer it where we can, and those are the grades that they have determined for that. So they will test on Thursday. Seniors, I believe, have a date on that week to come in because they're going to do some finalizing through Zello, which is their career choice program that they use through the guidance office, and then also do some other maybe scholarship type conversations with Miss Steinlogge and Miss May. That's a date you should be excited about, Will, coming up. Yes. Seniors all have their dates and stuff that have been emailed home to their parents and them as well. So for those senior parents that are watching, if you haven't checked, please check your email because there's an email from me, or visit with your senior because they also have that attachment. If a hard copy is needed, please stop by the office because we can certainly print those and send them home. But some important things coming up once April starts. Baccalaureate hits, and then Fine Arts Night, and then graduation is here before we know it. So, and then you've got prom and other things in there as well. So lots going on for our kids coming up in the last 2 months. It very much goes quick. So please pay attention for updates there. Oh, I forgot to include the Culture of Learning survey for our ISASP week next Friday. So I'll be leading that for each of the grade levels individually in here, just because last year we had some discrepancy in some of our data that came back. So we want to make sure it's administered consistently, and so I'll do that on Friday the 4th for everyone. So not much going on right now. I'm kidding. It's crazy busy, but questions?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Castor. Mrs. Dentlinger, the superintendent report.
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch base. I think our National Honor Society did a great job presenting all that they do, and I think it just needs to be noted again that on a Monday I had contacted, and this was a day that we were not in school, I had contacted and asked if they would kind of spearhead our different initiatives, and they needed to be a quick turnaround. So we started them on Wednesday and Thursday, and went done by Thursday, and we had raised over $6,300 in our coin wars, and took 2 truckloads of canned food and baby supplies and things to Winterset, and Winterset community was most appreciative. So I can't thank the community enough, and our students, but also the National Honor Society for organizing all that. We've had a lot of very positive comments. We had our elementary students do a kind of a hall walk for the kids in Winterset, just showing them that we're thinking about them, and that was very well received as well. So I mentioned it in several things that I've sent out, but I think this is one of the reasons why our communities are so valuable, because they support people local, and that just means the world. So that, I think, is worth noting. So thank you to everyone for that. We also are going to start a new tradition. Hopefully it's long-lasting because it's got donuts in it. But Donuts with Grown-Ups will be a book fair activity that our churches are going to be hosting. And then we're asking our kiddos to bring somebody grown up with them and spend an hour during the day with us. So more information will be going out on that. It's at the end of, towards the end of April, so we'll get that out in more detail. But if you board members are able to come, we would love to have you there, and we'll have you sit and talk with a kindergartner about how their year's going, and you can hopefully get some feedback from them. But just a great time to showcase our kids and school in general, so we're excited about that. Rose Dickinson is kind of in charge of that, so if you have any questions, you can always contact Rose. We did host a job fair on Thursday night, Thursday night, and we had a 50% success rate. I know that doesn't sound great. We had 2 people come in and we talked to both, and we're following up with one, and we actually are in the process of trying to hire one. So it's just encouraging that people want to be in the building and come in and see what we do and talk to our leads in those departments. So that'll be something that we probably continue to do. So it was good. We like to show off, and that's a good way for us to do that. And I see that Mr. Weber is here, so I have our facilities long-range planning, and so he and I have been working with the architects on this. So do you want to come up and just talk a little bit about where we are in that process?
As he's making his way down here, if you were a professional recruiter and you had a 50% rate, everybody would want to hire you,
Well.
just so you know. It doesn't matter, 50% is
Yeah.
awesome.
Last week we had OPN and architect firm come out Thursday and Friday for both days. They're about half days each time. I know Friday was about 4 hours and probably just shy of that on Thursday. And walk our grounds, go through our different needs assessment that I've been working towards, not only on the athletic front, but also the at-risk, the FCS, the science. I'll say on Friday, I organized a student group to sit with them. We had 12 students, 4 from each grade. Well, 12 to 16 students, 3 to 4 per grade. And that lasted just over an hour that we started our day on Friday with that. And I was the most impressed with that one. I thought our students, without any background at all, for the most part, I didn't want to tell them too much because I didn't want to tell them what we were thinking or wanting. The 3 engineers went through kind of a west to east on the entire campus on items that they see that they think we need right now versus big eye in the sky, what we'd really love to have years down the road. And then that allowed the engineers and I to walk through after that meeting for about 2.5 hours, everything that they talked about all the way through. So we went through everything from athletic grounds to the field prep to the press boxes, through all the different rooms that we use, technology. And so I thought they got a pretty good grasp of where we want to go if we got everything we wanted. And now they're kind of having to do all the work to figure out where do they come back in and ask us questions on what's possible. So I think that's about where we're at.
Yeah.
So
We also included in that conversations with family consumer science, our science rooms, and daycare. Okay. So those are all 3 different groups in addition to some of the athletic facilities and outdoor spaces.
So what's the next deliverable that we would expect from OPN then?
I think they were hoping just over the next 2 weeks, essentially, to come back to us. They would probably start with our smaller facilities group to then say, okay, here you go. This is what we're now sort of thinking. Poke some holes in it. And then that would allow us to maybe throw out a wider net then to a larger community group and start to get more feedback on what they come up with.
So just for maybe not clarification, but just a reminder, in 2024, we're able to call our bonds on our project that we have currently, which is our auditorium, which the space we're using now, and our fine arts area and our CTE buildings. And some of the work we're going to do a little bit later on the agenda, I think, with our surplus levy, is putting us in a good position just to say, how can we make this continue to be such a great place for kids to learn? And we know that we've got some pretty significant costs in renovations to our outdoor facilities. And so the conversation is, when we talk about 20 years, 30 years down the road, what makes more sense? And so they're bringing back, I think, a cost estimate if we were going to remodel what we currently have to make it something that's usable for the next 20 or 30 years, or give us some ideas of what else is possible. So that would be what's next, I think, through the process for the board, to get that feedback on those two different plans so we can start planning accordingly.
All right, anyone have any questions or discussion points on the superintendent report? All right, we will move on to the consent agenda items. Got several items on here. We got the board members should have all this information, or you got the past meeting minutes, monthly bills and financial statement. We have some open enrollment, resignations and contracts. We have Jeff Tessau resigns from PK through 4 principal position at the end of 2021-2022 school year. Jeff Tessau reassigned as work-based learning coordinator and math interventionist. He will continue his technology director position. Heather Dutry resigns as assistant secondary principal position at the end of the 2021-2022 school year. Heather Dutry reassigned to instructional coaching position. Mrs. Danielle Woods hired as elementary principal. Jerry Young resigns as high school science teacher. Jerry Young is reassigned as an interventionist. Paige McDuffie hired as a high school science teacher. Jessica Duggins hired as an elementary lunch secretary. And Kylie Holman hired as an associate. And then we also have 3 other items in there, some sharing agreements, which I'll ask Mrs. Dentlinger to talk a little bit more about.
So the sharing agreements is something that the state generated as a means to have maybe smaller districts share services that are in much need and give them incentive to do so. And so currently we host contracts. We share with Southeast Warren for all of our contracts currently. So we share maintenance director, we share a transportation director, we share an HR director and a curriculum director. And we hold the HR contract and we hold the the maintenance contract. Southeast Warren holds the transportation contract and the curriculum director contract. And so what that does is when we share those positions, we get a weighting dependent on what the state determines the weighting is. And then, so they might give us a weighting of 5. And so the district gets 5 additional students in their count. So right now the cost, supplemental aid for a student is about, we'll say $7,000 for the sake of easy math. And so we get 5 additional, so we get $35,000 for that one position that we can use for salary for that position. So it allows us to have positions that maybe we don't have a full-time need for, but definitely help the functioning of the district at a high level. And so we can share up to 21 positions, and we are currently at 16. We do have conversation right now going on with Winterset, and they've agreed they want to share that work-based learning coordinator with us. So we will work through that contract and bring it to an upcoming board meeting. So that is, it's really a win-win for all the districts involved. So these are 2-year agreements with Southeast Warren for the positions that we currently have. That's what's on this consent agenda.
So to clarify, so the sharing agreements that is currently in front of us has the weight of 16 additional
Correct.
kids. So
Correct.
16 times what the state says, which
Right.
is around $7,000.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the consent agenda is the $1,000 per certified teacher and non-classroom teaching contracts. Do you want to talk a
I'll
little bit about
explain that, yeah. So Governor Reynolds, as an incentive and I would say probably a thank you for all the teachers that are in education right now in kind of this tumultuous time, has allocated some of the ESSER monies that came to the state as an incentive pay or I want to say a bonus, but I know that that's taboo in the accounting world, but $1,000 for teachers who are teaching currently and will finish their contract year this year. We have, as with everything, there are some stipulations to that. People that maybe aren't teaching full-time in the classroom were not counted. And the school nurse was not counted. And so these are all certified positions that have been here and have worked in kind of the same conditions of everyone else. And so the recommendation we have is the state will allow us $61,000 to allocate for those teachers that have been here. And we're going to ask that the board approve the additional, is it 8,500? 8,500 for the teachers that have been here who are certified, who have not, who were not for whatever reason meeting the criteria, even though they're full-time. So it would be our guidance counselors, our nurse, our one part-time teacher, our instructional coaches. So all of those positions, we're asking the board just to not only approve the $1,000 per all the certified teachers that qualify, but also direction us to give approval to give the $8,500 to the 8.5 teachers that currently are here and doing great things. And we can use ESSER funds for that. We can use general funds. We have a different couple of avenues that Ted and I will work through which one's going to be the best to pay that out of. But it should be something we can take care of out of the money we got from the state, federal government.
And when you talk about the ESSER funds, the $61,000 cap is the state ESSER funds that aren't ours, they're giving us that much.
Correct.
And the additional 8,500 possibly could come out of the ESSER funds that we already have.
Correct.
Or are
Correct.
getting reimbursed for, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And we have, and I don't want to say that's where we're going to take them because we might find a better avenue for that. So if
Okay.
you would just allocate us to take it out of whatever fund is most appropriate for that.
Okay. And the last item on the consent agenda is the AEA purchasing agreement. I don't know if we need to
So
have
this
a
is, yeah,
discussion.
this again, it's one of those that we sign every year. We usually purchase our paper through AEA, which gives us a significant discount. So we buy in bulk from them. Again, it's just kind of pooling your resources and getting a better price. So this is the agreement that lets us do that.
Okay. So that is all the items on the consent agenda. Anybody have any questions or discussion items on the consent agenda? Not hearing any, I would entertain a motion on the consent items.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items as listed.
I second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda items. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The consent items are approved. Now we are moving into items for discussion. We got middle school building goals review. Mrs. Dutry? No.
This is our leadership team from the middle school. And just a little background, similar to what we had Mr. Weber here talking about last week with special ed, all of our building leadership teams were charged with building leadership goals this year that they worked with their staff on. So middle school is here to present their work today.
Yeah, and I'm Margaret Llewellyn, 7th and 8th grade social studies. I'm first just because it's alphabetical. I was not trying to put myself first.
And I'm Jennifer Offield, 7-8 math.
Zach Weilbacher, 5-6 science.
And I think Heather had a family thing come up. So that's who we are. One of you?
Yeah, I think this is me. So one goal that we really set out to try to achieve and improve on this year was something that we just called student connectedness. And what it is just we felt that there was a need in the building to, with the students being connected with each other, being connected with the school, being connected with us as staff. So what we did is we've put out a survey a couple different times and just kind of looked at some data and information that we got and have tried to drive some things we're doing every day in the middle school based on that data with the goal in mind to improve the student connectedness. Is that good?
Beautiful.
So the data that we received from these surveys that we have given twice so far and that we'll give a third time here in the spring here soon is that a majority of students do feel that they belong here, that they feel safe, that they are welcome, that they are connected to at least a teacher in the building somewhere, that they have a peer or a student, a friend that they could reach out to in a time of need, and that they are truly happy to be here at school, that they belong and want to come to school each day.
And then winter data on the next one too. So we were really kind of impressed that we had the exact number of student responses, that like they all seemingly did it both times. And there is a little bit of a drop here in the percentages, which I feel like we also kind of predicted just because this was given right before Christmas break. It's kind of a crazy time. It just is. I've heard Mr. Castor comment before, the most office referrals come like December and May. Everything's crazy. So it was still good numbers, but perhaps a little bit decreased. And we did have student names on this. So specifically that connected to teacher piece. We talked about recognizing that, you know, little Johnny happened to say that he didn't feel connected, and you didn't go talk to that kid and say, why don't you feel connected? But we're able to make a greater connection with that kid, hopefully in advisory or class, if perhaps you'd overlooked them or they are feeling overlooked, that you'd be able to know and help those kids. So the last information is about what we have been doing in addition to collecting and analyzing this data. We implemented clubs this year, so every Friday, instead of first period study hall, students get to sign up for a club they want to participate in, and I run student council. What are things you've done?
I have done Spirit Club, promoting spirit with locker signs, as well as Drawing Club.
Yeah, I've personally done a running club, and then now that the weather's getting nice, just started outside activities club. There's been so many. I can't even.
There's something for everyone. There was martial arts club and lots of creative things.
Sewing club.
Sewing,
mini
cooking
society.
club, mini society. Escape room, Mario Kart, Harry Potter discussions. I mean, just lots of good stuff. Hunter safety, even actually. And then we talked about having kind of some community connections, and that's a piece we'd like to increase as well. Implementing win time, whatever I need time, just an effort to be sure that anyone that needs reteaching, support with particular skills, etc. Second semester, each day of the week, a curriculum area gets to have a small group of kids, and their study hall is covered by God Bless, Ginger, Harkin, or Faith Curry, and that way you can work a little more one-on-one with students that need more help. Student Council has been working on Fun Time Fridays. They're middle schoolers. They think of insane things. The other day, it was like National Dress in Blue Day, so we told them all dress in blue, and we gave them blue candy. And down in the hallway, we put up signs about, I'm not blue because of you, and then we left little nice comments to people, just all sorts of things. And we've celebrated birthdays and holidays and seasons and lots of door decorating contests. And my husband works overnights from an American. He has brought home so many donuts this year for when they win the door decorating contest. He's going to kill me. And the SEL lessons that come through Angie Steinlage and Rose Dickinson as well, just making sure we're taking care of that social emotional learning piece for all middle schoolers as well. And we will be hosting an 8th grade field trip. At least that's the goal. We'll be hopefully going to the Winterset Iowa Theater. The gentleman there said we can pretty much bring a DVD and show a movie, and he'll give everybody popcorn and a drink. And then we're going to go to Winterset City Park. And again, my husband's going to grill hot dogs, and they're going to play in the park. And they're so excited. I had a kid say, "Why do we get to have this much fun?" I was like, I don't know, we like you. But then also 5th and 6th grade will be having Ag Day. We already had a 7th and 8th grade dance, but we plan to have the spring fling outside like we did last year, continuing our Fun Time Friday ideas. Watch out, Friday is April Fool's Day. We'll see what happens. And then an end of the year celebration, we've been working on maybe a kickball tournament or a field day or that one's still in the works. So those are all things we're doing to improve student connectedness to staff and to the Roadrunner way. Feedback, thoughts?
That's a lot. You guys are busy.
We have to keep middle schoolers busy.
Yeah, you do, I'm sure. Involving the community, you mentioned that a little bit. What are your thoughts on that? For some of these clubs where maybe there's an expert outside of the school that could come in.
Exactly, exactly. And again, my poor husband, I was like, maybe you could come and bring your four-wheeler and you could offer kids to work on something. Or I know Sue Meggers brought in Roger Hutton when talked about taxidermy. So that's exactly right. With this being the first year, I wouldn't say that piece is as strong, but exactly right. Getting community members, but even our kids have been able to go read books to elementary students or work with teachers that maybe they don't get to see on a regular basis. So having our community and having everyone in this one campus has been a valuable part for the clubs as well.
So one thing I noticed, on your surveys, you've got 2 data points on your surveys. Are you going to do another survey at the end of the year?
May,
Yes, this spring.
Okay.
Yep.
And is the survey? I'm definitely a data person. I love data. So are you gonna try to keep the surveys somewhat similar, like year to year, so you can kind of see some trending, or do you guys have much of a vision on where that's going to go next school year? Already looking ahead? I don't want to push us into next school year yet.
You get to survive May before you can think about next year. But no, we haven't had a lot of conversation about that necessarily. The survey has been the same each time, obviously.
Okay.
And the same format, was given an advisory. Some of those controls are the same, but
Okay.
if you got ideas, Data Man, we'll take them.
And then,
Could be one thing I do wonder about in terms of like a building goal for next year is, does this data really show that we need to, not that we don't need to, because I do think connectedness is extremely important, but when you look at the data and it's all pretty much in the 90 percentile, is it really something that we need to continue focusing on when you see some of our fast scores, like maybe our connectedness is kind of where it needs to be and we're okay there, and we need to maybe start focusing on something else, and maybe it's not something that we need to maybe keep the focus on, not that it isn't still important, but maybe it's not the thing next year for the building goal. I think this came out of some of the, Mr. Castor talked a little bit about during ISAS, they also do the culture of learning survey, and in years past, that survey has kind of showed that maybe there were some issues, but I also think, like he mentioned, he's going to give that survey because sometimes I think the wording of some of those can be weird and our kids don't quite really know what it's asking, and so that's why we kind of wanted to give our own survey and do some things to make sure that we are making a point to be connected to kids. So I hear what you're saying, that like if we're going to keep doing it, we should keep it consistent, but personally, I'm not 100% sold that it's something that we have to keep. We have to keep it in our mind, but I'm not sure it should necessarily be their building goal next year.
It does feel like, we have lots of good things happening, whether or not we're collecting the data on it, that we should keep on doing all these good things that are making kids feel connected to school.
well, yeah, I agree with what Melissa said. That is a lot of stuff, a lot of work. You're busy, I commend you for sure. We just need to make sure that, you're putting your effort in the right place that really needs it. And I really appreciate everything you've done there. That's a lot to get done.
Well, we always say middle school takes a certain kind of crazy, so we're all in.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, talented and gifted program updates. This is Cephkis.
There should be a paper coming around. My name is Whitney Cephkis. I am the K-12 Gifted and Talented Coordinator here. I want to share with you guys a little bit about our program this year and some things that we're planning on doing in the near future here. So I printed it on paper instead of a PowerPoint because it was only a couple of slides, so bear with me. So one of the big things is that we're identifying kids K-12 for gifted and talented if they're in the top 5 to 7% in their grade. We're gearing our program to fit the structure of the MTSS pyramid, which is also in our handbook right now. There's a picture of it in the bottom right-hand corner. Acceleration opportunities this summer for GTU students will be in math and ELA content areas only at this time. And the main reason for that is because we don't have a lot of data right now in regards to science and social studies. Data collections in progress right now. So I have 2 surveys, which actually it's like more like 4 because I'm also surveying parents and students as well. So we have what PD teachers need next school year in regards to GT students and differentiation and so forth for next year. The other survey we have done is the effectiveness of student acceleration. And I've given this to the proctors that proctored the students last summer in the courses, along with current content teachers to see if those students are moving into the next grade level or the next content area fluently. Okay. And then the next thing I have to share is our family STEM nights. So we started doing family STEM nights this year. Stephanie Brown and I were actually in a discussion back in like September about how there's not a lot of things for our students to do in the winter months. And she actually had some things that she was doing in Winterset that, like slime and so forth, that she wanted to go attend, but it was only offered certain times of the year and so forth. So we thought, why don't we just bring stuff like that here? So that's kind of where our STEM nights started. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math, and we kind of weave that into STREAM and talking about science, technology, reading, engineering, art, and math. Is support from teachers, students, parents, community. Rose Dickinson has been a huge help getting food lined up and sponsors. Stephanie's been helping a ton with getting grants written, getting funding for books. We've been giving books to families when they attend as well. Usually what happens is we've had a bunch of people, I can give you the numbers too for attendance down below, but families gather, we eat lunch about the first half hour, and then from there we do a short activity, and at the very end we have awards, we have prizes, and every family gets to take home a book. So it lasts about an hour, 15 minutes or so. We've had 5 themes this year. I have flyers, 2 of them, but we've had a turkey race one. We've done a Santa's workshop where they had to build a sleigh. We've done a pirate ship one where they've had to create pirate ships with their families. The one we just did last week actually was like a mystery, like a crime scene they had to solve. And then our very last one in May will be about slime. So that's kind of the 5 things that we've talked about. Attendance. We have seen a huge improvement in our attendance. So it started out in November with 41 people, and this is kids and parents included. December we had 64 people. February we had 100 people. In March we had 86 people. In May we of course have not done that one yet. But we actually ended up capping our March one off at 100 just because we had so many come to our February one that for food purposes and sponsor purposes, we didn't want to have them accommodate 200 people a week before the event.
Is there an opportunity for high schoolers to get involved and help out?
Yes, for STEM nights and stuff. Yes, of course. I've had, actually, I should have mentioned that when it comes to parents and student support. I've had anywhere from 8 to 10 students offer to help, and the numbers just keep getting bigger. I've had tons of students ask to help out in some way, and that's where, like, next year, I'm trying to figure out how else I can get more students on board. The biggest problem I have right now is that there's a lot of kids wanting to help, but I don't have enough stuff for them to do at the STEM nights to keep them occupied. But most of the students that I have helping right now are middle school students. But yeah, I've had several kids reach out and want to help, which is great.
Yeah, it's great.
What grade levels is STEM nights for?
We targeted it anywhere from preschool to about 4th grade. Okay. We have had some older kids come just because they are already there with their parents or their younger siblings there, but that's primarily where most of our attendance is.
Okay.
So this is something that you'll continue to do on a monthly basis? Is that the goal?
We did 5 this year. I would like to do it again next year. It depends on funding and if we get sponsors and so forth. I thought about tweaking it so maybe it's just like family fun nights, and then we could do like Clue. We could do Amazing Race. We can do more interactive things where families get up and moving rather than just kind of sit and do like little STEM activity. We've been struggling to get technology into our STEM nights just because of the dynamics and the struggles of having technology for every single family when we've had 50 families attend and so forth. So that's a piece that we were a little lacking on this time around, but I thought if we can kind of shift it so it's more getting the families mingling with other families and doing things out of their seats and so forth, we'll have better luck.
Is there typically, sorry, I have a couple.
You're fine.
Is there typically, so how many, is there teachers, lots of teachers there? Is there?
It's actually, Stephanie helps me facilitate them. Rose Dickinson, again, she helps out with food and so forth, but it's literally just Stephanie and I lead it. And then the students, of course.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, thank you for presenting, and thank you for all of this. This is fairly significant what you're doing, and if we're able to continue that, I can't imagine how much better our kids and our families will be just being able to build on that each year. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're into radio bid. Mrs. Dentlinger.
So one of the things that we've been really trying to do at the safety team level is ensure, obviously, the safety of all our students and staff. And one of the things that has come up repeatedly is just the conversation about communication and effective communication. I apologize, I'm trying to figure out how to make this a little bit bigger so that you can see it. Effective communication, and you know, it would make sense that we use cell phones or that we use some of that technology that may be a little bit more readily available from all of our staff. And we do have an app called Crisis Go that all of our staff members have access to on their smartphone, which helps us communicate with all teachers. But what we're asking for is approval of a bid to upgrade and connect all of our radios, which currently are allocated to our bus drivers, our maintenance staff. This would include all administrators, and then we have different classrooms in the building that are close to exits that also have a radio in their classroom. And so it's just getting all of those groups on one, I guess, frequency. I'm not a not a technician of this, but my understanding is one frequency. So if there's an issue on a bus, the people who need to hear it will hear it. If there's an issue with somebody, you know, in a building that's not supposed to be there, we can track it down right away. And so the challenge with doing that with cell phones is not everybody gets great reception in the building, and so it's a little bit challenging to have that consistency for communication. And so this is to upgrade our current handheld devices and then add devices so that everybody has the same thing that they're using to communicate in the building. So we had two quotes, one for $36,000 from Electronic Engineering and one for $24,000 from Unplugged Wireless. So I'm asking that you accept the quote from Unplugged Wireless to upgrade all of our radios in the building and all of our auxiliary services as well.
Any questions or discussion on the radio bid? All right, if anybody wants to make a motion on this, they probably need to specify which bid we're looking to accept. Which your recommendation was for the unplugged wireless
correct.
bid, correct?
I would make a motion to approve the unplugged wireless communication bid.
I second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the unplugged wireless radio bid. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The radio bid is approved. Next item would be for the HVAC system bid that we probably need to talk through a little bit.
Yeah, so you all have an updated, all the board members have an updated letter from ISG. This is the architect firm that we were using. If you remember, we were allocated ESSER funds for multiple different purposes. One of those purposes was HVAC. We had started this work in the elementary and we're moving our way around the building. And when we had access to use those funds for clean air and some of those things as a result of ESSER, we decided to use the federal funds that we were allocated for that to finish that project. So a couple of things around that. We have until 2024 to use those funds. We did have to get feedback from the public, and this is one of the things that the public did want us to consider using funds for. Our allocation of those funds was, I think, $540 roughly $1,000, give or take. And part of that has to be used for learning loss, which are our interventionist positions, but part of it could be for facilities upgrades to help with air quality or social distancing or whatever the district deemed appropriate. So the plan was to get ISG to work with us on a design for the remaining rooms and to go through the bid process with us. Their projected total for the project was $678,000. And the two bids that came in, one was at $1.173 million, and the other one was at $1.14 million. And so almost twice as much as what the architects had recommended. And so at this point, I'm going to ask that the board reject those bids and give us direction to work with that architect group again to change the parameters. Maybe look at completing part of the project. Look at maybe changing the timeline. Our architect firm is in contact with both of our bidding contractors to find out if there's any feedback they have for us on the project that would make that a little bit more palatable. But I can't in good faith recommend that we pay almost double what the architects are projecting for air conditioning at this time. I know that it's definitely something that we're going to need, but I also know that we have to be stewards of the money and the fiscal responsibility lies on us. So I'm going to ask that you reject those bids and maybe give us some direction as far as working with the architect to see if there is some alternatives.
Yeah, I think part of this is, HVAC is a priority for us, but yeah, double the original price. We need to have some better understanding and see if there's some options that we can put into this bid to really lower the cost, or is there something in there that's driving this cost up, that whether it's scope of work or duration or whatever it may be. Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I agree too. So once you talk to the architect, would you come back to us with those different options?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would come back to us before it would go back out for bid?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I guess for public that's listening, I just want everyone to understand that this might alter the timeline. So we might not be done with this project this summer. It might be a 2 or a 3 year process, but ultimately, if we can do it and still be stewards of that money, I think that's the end goal, is to get the service done or the project done, but also make sure doing it in a fiscally responsible manner.
And just speculating somewhat, there's a lot of schools trying to do this exact same thing right now.
Correct.
So maybe we weren't first on the list. Maybe we weren't the earliest ones out there getting it. So both the quantity of units available and the supply chain is probably a risk, and just how full contractors are may be a risk for this summer as well.
Right.
So I guess this point, we do need an action on this. The recommendation from Mrs. Dentlinger is action to reject all bids for the HVAC system. Is that your
Correct.
recommendation? Okay.
Correct.
I would make a motion to reject all bids for the HIVAC system at this time.
I would second that. Yep. I
All
would
right.
second that.
All right, moved and seconded that we reject all bids for the HVAC system. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Next item is the tentative agreement with the I-35 Community School District support staff.
Yeah, so we have two groups that we negotiate. This year we negotiated with our support staff first. So this was our cooks and our bus drivers, our janitors, and our secretaries. And so we agreed upon a 59-cent an hour increase. So that's a 3.946% increase overall, and the cost will be $44,060. I think it's worth mentioning or reminding, the district usually negotiates from a standpoint of new money that comes in, and then looks at the different groups to determine how to allocate that money. We do subtract things from that new money before we think about the negotiation process. We have insurance increases sometimes that the district won't pass on to members, and so that money we take off. This year we allocated some contingency money for inflation, since it's so much higher than it has been in past for some of our general supplies. And so really when you look at these negotiation increases, it's within the work of what new money we have, less some of those things. And so that's kind of our starting point and how we come up with the numbers that we do, and then just in conversation with the groups. I was very appreciative. Mr. Kanoy sat in on our two negotiating groups this year, and they were very appreciative of that. I think anytime that you guys can see our people and the things they value, I think it just goes a long way to supporting them, but also for your understanding. So I just want to thank Mr. Kanoy for that. But the first group we negotiated with was the support staff. So their increase is recommended 3.946 at a cost of $44,000 and $44,060 to the district.
Any questions or discussions on this tentative agreement?
No.
I would entertain a motion, and I think we probably have to have the numbers in the motion, right? Yep.
So I would make a motion to approve the agreement at a 3.946 increase for the support staff.
I'd second that.
All right, it's been moved and second to approve the tentative agreement. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, we'll move right into the tentative agreement for the certified staff.
So this is all of our teachers and our school nurse, our counselors, and the recommended increase for that group is a 3.53% increase. This is divided up. It will add $820 to the base, but will also advance the lane and the step for the 2022-2023 school year. We will also increase the extra duty base, $2,000, which would bring that to a $31,000 base for the extra duty schedule. The approximate total cost of this package is $150,457.
All right, any discussion or questions on this agreement, tentative agreement?
No.
I would entertain any motion.
I will make, excuse me, I will make a motion to approve the 3.53% increase for the certified staff.
I'd second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agreement for the certified staff. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? That agreement is approved. Next is updates to the teacher agreement.
So typically, we did not open language this year. We were only opening wages because we had agreed on a multi-year contract, which would not change language. But the union, the certified staff, had brought in two things just probably for clarification, and the district agreed with those. So the changes for the contract will be Veterans Day. So currently, any member of our staff that is a veteran gets Veterans Day off if they provide the correct documentation. We currently allow this, it's just not been articulated in the contract. So it's just putting on paper what we're currently doing in practice. The other thing is the question around other duties. That we had 3 different sources, and wanting to make sure it was cleaned up. Staff are asked to sign up for 2 additional duties, taking money at a gate, for example, or working at an event. And so just cleaning up the language that it does not need to be a sporting event, and that it is 2 activities. If they work 2 activities, they get a pass, I believe, to all of the events, and they can sign up for additional activities. So we just cleaned up the language in all of those places so it all reads the same. So the updated information is included on the agenda, and that has been approved by the association members.
Any questions or discussions on the updates to the teacher agreement?
No.
I would entertain any motions.
I'll make a motion.
I'd move to update the teachers' agreement as presented.
And I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the updates to the teachers agreement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Updates to the teacher agreement are approved. The meet and confer recommended increase.
The group that nobody knows about. So the meet and confer group is anyone who's not currently covered by a contract. So it's our administrative staff, it is our secretaries that are 12-month that might have confidential access to information. So anybody that works in the district office is included in this. It's our directors, so transportation director, maintenance director, so anybody that's not covered by a contract. And really what it means is we meet on any given day and talk about things that we would talk about typically in a negotiation process, if there's questions that they have or concerns that they have, and then we talk about increase. Since I've been here, I've always recommended the lesser of the 2 groups that have negotiated as the increase for the meet and confer group. So the recommendation this year is that we have a 3.53% increase for those groups, and that is a total of $26,108.
Any questions or discussions on the meet and confer recommended increase?
No.
Any motions on the meet and confer recommended increase?
I'll make a motion to approve the meet and confer recommended increase at 3.53%.
I'd second that.
Got a motion and a second to approve the meet and confer recommended increase of 3.53%. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item is the audit, the review of our annual audit.
Mr. Bauer, I'm going to take a break.
Each of you have received a copy of the audit, right? And did you receive it in your board packet?
Yes.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to go through it page by page. Looks like there's 79 pages. We could be here a while. Okay. So I've got a few things I'll just go over here. School audits are required by Chapter 11 of the Code of Iowa. The district's financial statements received a clean opinion, also referred to as an unmodified or an unqualified opinion, which is the best of the 4 types of opinions that an auditor can issue. A finding that is common in small to medium-sized organizations is segregation of duties due to having a limited number of employees handling transactions from inception to completion. The district will review how we are doing things and improve our internal control processes as much as possible with the staff that we have. With this being the first year that Interstate 35 has received $750,000 or more in federal funds, we're subject to the single audit requirements, which is also known as uniform guidance policies. Therefore, we are in the process of updating our written policies to include the required written policies under the uniform guidance. So that was one comment that they had. So we'll work on that and get that finished up. No questionable expenditures. Those expenditures that the auditors believe may not meet the requirements of public purpose, so that's good. This certified annual report was certified timely to the Iowa Department of Education. That was a remark they had. And we'll put the completed audit on our website, and it will also be found at the state auditor's website. So I don't know if you have any questions from what you read or anything, or any concerns.
I had no questions.
No.
Melissa?
No.
Eddie?
Okay, thanks.
None here.
All right, I would entertain any motions around the audit.
I would make a motion to approve the audit.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the audit. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? The audit is approved. All right, now moving on to the fiscal year 2023 certified budget, which we had a public hearing on a little while ago.
So
Is there any-
just the proposal is that that you approve the published rate. Right now, it's a little bit higher, as I said, for the fluctuation. So 18.74251 is what we're asking that you approve, and then in June, barring nothing unusual, we'll adjust it down to what our current rate is. So there will be no increase.
Any questions, discussions on this? All right, any motions around the fiscal year 2023 certified budget?
I will make a motion to approve the fiscal year 23 certified budget as presented.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the fiscal year 2023 certified budget. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? The fiscal year 2023 certified budget is approved. Last agenda item is the resolution for debt service payment. This is the exciting one for the night, right?
Sure. So each, let me start over again. The last 3 years, we have taken the approach as a board to use some of our surplus levy to pay down our debt on our building project. And so that would include our auditorium, our CTE, and our fine arts. And so what I put on the screen is these are called GO bonds, general obligation bonds. And so what we've done is if you look at the chart, you can see on the left side the amounts that we're starting to pay down. So what happens is we pay on the back side of the debt that we have, which saves us then in interest for the project. So currently, we have, let's see if I can find the total on here. I didn't bring my right glasses, so bear with me. We've saved $401,000 to date by paying, we've saved that in taxpayer money by paying back early. The recommendation is that we continue that practice. And if we put that into play this next year, we're looking at a savings of $631,125 total. So when all is said and done, if we continue this practice, we'll have saved taxpayers at I-35 a significant amount of money on interest paid for the project. And so the recommendation is to approve the surplus levy to be used for this purpose. So that's kind of the background, but you have to go through the resolution information, so.
And, you know, basically, this is basically we're paying a loan back early and saving a bunch of interest, which that's why I said it's exciting, because we're saving money compared to if we drug it out, so. Any questions or discussion points on the resolution for the debt service payment?
No questions.
All right, so I need to read this portion of.
Just, yeah, the resolution
Okay.
there. If you would
So this
take-
resolution is authorizing the redemption of general obligation school bonds, Series 2017, dated July 25th, 2017, approving a second amendment to escrow agent agreement and levying a tax for fiscal year 2023 for the redemption of general obligation school bonds, Series 2017, dated July 25th, 2017. I would entertain any motion on the resolution for debt service payment.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for debt service payment as presented.
I'd second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution for debt service payment. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? The resolution for the debt service payment has been approved. That is everything on our agenda. Our next scheduled board meeting is April 25th, 2022.
Yes, and I did not put it on there, but graduation, which all board members are asked to be at, is the 22nd of May. So it's on the next board agenda, but I wanted to make sure you all knew that as well tonight. So it's the 22nd of May, and it'll be at 2 o'clock.
Yep. Great. Any other important dates?
Although there's a lot, but we'll get them out. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. I would entertain any motion to adjourn this meeting.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'd second that.
Moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Eddie, thank you for calling in.